Hey everybody, it's the end of the day and I just thought I'd shoot an update on my waterfall tank here before I get all the lights turned out. I've got all the other lights in the room turned out, and what I normally do is turn out all of the brighter lights that illuminate the upper portion of the tank, sort of the garden-y part, and then we just leave the little floodlight that you see hanging there lit in this corner, and it gives a nice sort of sunset effect, and it sort of winds the room down, and it's a nice way to end the day. But before we get there, wanted to just do a little bit of update because there's a few things worth mentioning. First, while I'm thinking about it, I did a big water change tonight. I didn't worry about spraying for aphids or anything, although I do need to do that. They are coming back. But while I was doing the water change, I must have swirled the water around enough that I turned up the body of one of those little sculpins. So the sculpins are no longer with us. That small one is the last one I'd seen in quite a while, and now I know for a fact that that one is dead. I just threw it away. I've also not seen any of the frogs in there in a little while, so not really sure what's going on with the frogs, but I would not be surprised if I don't have any frogs left in there anymore either. Possibly they climbed out, possibly they were eaten, or possibly they've just died. I don't really know, but I just haven't seen them in quite a while. So make what you want of that. The popped out eye on my flagfish is still popped out. It's not as bad as it was. It's certainly not getting any worse. So I think that's just sort of a popped out eye that's going to be like that. And I'm guessing, if I had to, I would say it was from aggression, territoriality during this mating, spawning, whatever it's in there doing. But it's been acting really aggressive and really territorial down in this corner of the tank. It's actually not so bad right now. I mean, it was just violently chasing anything that got anywhere near this end of the tank. So maybe it's working its way through and it's not feeling quite so aggressive anymore. Hopefully that eye will eventually recede back into its head. But if it doesn't and it just stays sort of popped out like that, not going to hurt anything, but it's just kind of weird looking, and I've gotten used to seeing it, so I'm not really even bothered by it anymore. So we'll see how that works out. Well, I guess we're still showing some signs of aggression in there. So the other things that are worth mentioning, my sweet potato plant is doing really well. It's actually growing roots all into the tank and everything. I don't know if I'm going to leave that in there and let those roots develop, because I think that would be really pretty. But we'll see. All the rest of the sweet potato vine you can see is doing really well up here. And then of course my purple sweet potato vine, the dark one right there, isn't really growing any kind of length on it. It's just sort of getting dense and bushy. I think that one also has aphids all over it. And you can see how some of the leaves are sort of wrapped around and have that sort of clawed, curled look. I think that's probably nutrient deficiency, because aphids are sucking all the juices out of it. Those juices are supposed to be going to the plant, and it's not. It's going to the aphids, and the plants are starting to suffer a little bit. So I do need to get in and do some more work on that. My arrowhead plants are not really growing long either. They're just growing dense because they've got so much light on them. If these were under sort of office lighting, they had a couple of fluorescent tubes behind a diffuser 15 feet away, they'd probably be all leggy and long and, crawling around looking for light. But they don't need to go anywhere to get light where they are. And as such, they're very dense. You can see another one that is sort of broken off, and I rooted in down here. All that back there is arrowhead plant. And of course, I've got another one. This one is just in a planter right there that I have to make sure I water as a planter. This little purple flower is a little fake flower that came with this weird stuff. You've noticed all these giant paddle-shaped leaves. It's an enormous plant. I mean, they're everywhere. I cut a bunch of them off today that were actually hanging down here and sort of obscuring the view of the water. So I cleared a bunch of them out. You can see the chopped off ends right there. But this flower is what is supposed to come off of that. I don't know if it's going to be like a little flower down here. I don't know if it's going to be on some huge stalk. I've seen no signs of it flowering. I don't know what causes it to flower. I don't know if it's a shortening of the days. I don't know if it's additional red lighting. there are a lot of different things that cause different plants to go into their flowering cycle depending on the plant. And I know nothing about this plant, including its name. So we can see an aphid right there. Those little dots, those little specks you see, those are aphids. That is a new leaf that is yet to unfurl around here. And of course I'm not going to force it, but that is actually wrapped around that like a roll of paper, and that'll open up, and then we'll have a whole nother leaf right there. So that, my begonia here, my Rex begonia. Oh, I forgot I watered this today, so that's kind of heavy to pick up with one hand. If I could turn it around, which is what I'm trying to do, if we look at the back side of it, oh, it's too late. They've already all fallen off. I noticed yesterday or the day before that there was little flowers all over it. So for as big and crazy looking as this plant is, which again to me it's the foliage that is what does it for me. I think these begonias are just absolutely stunning. So man, way down here at the bottom, a couple little pale petals on the flowers. It's not that they're unattractive flowers, but I mean, I personally, the flowers do not, they pale in comparison to just the plant itself. Look at the foliage. It's incredible looking. So we've got that going on. I got another Rex begonia here. This one looks like it's been spray painted with like undercoating or something. Really, really interesting looking. And that's starting to recover. That was looking a little rough for a while. I got another begonia here. Don't know the cultivar on this one. This was a gift from my wife's aunt. She gave us some cuttings of this. And so that looks really good. But this one's really tall and leggy. It doesn't have a whole lot of branching on it or anything. So again, really interesting begonia. I've never seen one like that before. And I got in and I deadheaded all of my daylily flower stalks, so they're all now gone. And as I said, I removed several of these leaf spikes that were getting a little saggy and looking a little rough. I cut some of the foliage from the daylily that was starting to yellow and get in the way and kind of make the light not really shine down in the water properly. I trimmed that out of there. So I've done more gardening indoors today than I've done outdoors by a long shot. So as we wind down, we're going to say goodnight to the tank. I'm going to turn the bright LED off. That is the unit right there that creates all that light. And then this is this little unit here that has a Cree floodlight in it. That is, I think that's 2700K. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 2700K right there. But that's a Cree floodlight. Not super bright, but it puts enough light that the top of the tank gets lit up. And then once it gets turned out, of course, all we've got is the reflected light coming up from the water. And this light we've got down here. So big difference in the way the tank looks. If we take a step back, look at it from out here. Now the camera doesn't really do this justice. It either is trying to pick up all the bright light down here, which makes it almost impossible to see up there. But if I block that, you can actually see how brightly lit that is. So from my point of view, I can see all that in there just fine. It's just when that bright light down there comes out, it washes the camera out, and you don't really get the true effect of what I'm seeing. But rest assured, that looks absolutely beautiful with all the twinkling lights on it, and just the difference of what we're used to seeing, where plants and flowers are usually lit from above and the light source is usually shining down on the plants. And so to simply have them lit in this unusual fashion where they're being lit from underneath, not to mention the fact that it's all shimmering and twinkling and everything else, it's just a really interesting look for all these plants and a really nice way for me to wrap my day up. I enjoy coming in here and just standing here watching this. Of course, we've got all these beautiful vibrant colors on all these guppies and everything right underneath this light. So good stuff. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that final look of the day at my waterfall tank. Make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss anything I got coming up. We're going to be working on the native tank here pretty soon, and there's some exciting stuff going to be happening with that, I think. So make sure you're subscribed. You won't miss any of that. Don't forget, this one is my waterfall tank. I'll see you real soon in the next one.